Mr. Chen, welcome to Constituting America's Constitutional Chats. Now, we're also happy to have with us today Mr. William Saunders, who's director of the Center for Human Rights at the Catholic University of America, who is accompanying you. So Mr. Saunders and Mr. Chen, welcome. And we're going to give Mr. Chen just a few minutes to make some opening comments, and then we'll go to questions.
Thank you, everyone. I'm glad to see you on the air. I come from China. The company called me troublemaker. Because of my human rights work, the company prosecuted me and my family 7 years. So now I come home. I want to talk about something is happening in mainland China. Just right now, the company never stopped prosecuting the own people in mainland China. Just this year, June 1st, in Jiangxi province, in the college, the student got a food from the college restaurant, but the student found a mouse head in the food. So the student took a video and shared it on the internet. That is very clear is a mouse head. Yeah, we can see the teeth, yeah, like that, very clear. But later, because the news become very hot, and the college leader had to come out to say something, then they said, "Oh, we checked that is not a mouse head, that is a duck neck." But all the netizens on the internet can see the video very clear. They don't believe the college leader said. So later, they asked the Communist Party to give a result check. So that news keep hot on the internet more than 10 days. Now the Communist Party, the Jiangxi province leader have to create a group, the leaders to investigate this case. But in my experience, I don't believe the Communist Party will give them the truth. Yeah, the Communist Party always lie, always try to hiding the evil things. So I don't believe the Communist Party will let the people know the truth. So this case is very interesting, and that is a special significance. Since like this case, you can understand in mainland China, the Communist Party control everything, no truth. If you say some truth, the Communist Party will threaten you or send you to put you in jail. And now the Communist Party give a big pressure to that student, ask the student to write some comments on the internet to say, "Oh, before I'm wrong, I think that is a duck neck in my food." So, but the internet very strong and the netizens very strong, a lot of comments on the internet. So that I think that is very easy in Western country. We can check that is a mouse head or duck neck. But in mainland China, even like this, very difficult to get the truth. So that is mainland China's today. The Communist Party always stand with evil. So if one party control all the power, make all the media become their mouthpiece, no truth, no freedom, the freedom life we will lost freedom. Thank you, everyone.
Well, that is a great illustrative story of of what the Chinese people are up against with the Communist Party. Because it sounds like a student identified something that was readily identifiable, that the Communist Party told her it was something totally opposite, and she had to attest to that. And I think and as you said, the Communist Party controls the truth in China, and the real truth can't get out. And Janine, I know you must have some questions for Mr. Chen, and so I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Chen. Thank you so much for being with us today. And my name's Janine Turner, and it's wonderful to be able to have this conversation with you today. I'm an actress, and I filmed a movie, Taipan, in China in 1984, I guess it was. And I was in Zhuhai, which I was there for 3 months in the southern, I don't know what Zhuhai looks like now, but back then there was nothing there except the hotel where the tourists could stay, but not the people who actually lived in China. They were not allowed to go into that hotel. And it was right across the border from Macau there. But it was very different. And there was a man, an actor on the set who had lived through the Cultural Revolution. And I was only about 21 years old at the time. But I remember very distinctly how he would tell me the horror stories of the Cultural Revolution. So would you talk to us, and of course that was the beginning of the Communist Party, and it took away the rights of the people and the culture and the arts and religion and the intellectual basis. It was all sort of nullified in order to bring the communist power in. Can you talk to us about what years, did the Cultural Revolution in China, what years were they? And what was that experience like?
The Cultural Revolution, since 1966, that 10 years, in that time, no law, any law, no include the constitution. So the Communist Party can take away everything from your family, even from your body. So all the people no food to eat. My father told me the stories, and my mother said she had to work more than 15 hours one day. In the morning, maybe 3 o'clock a.m., she had to get up and cook the food. And if you come there later, the company will stop to give you food. You have to work from, for example, if you come there 7 o'clock a.m., you have to work until noon, then you get the food. So if you want to get a breakfast, you have to come there around 3 or 4 a.m. So all the people, no food to eat. A lot of people died just because no food. So the Cultural Revolution, that is mad time. Mad times. So from cities to rural China, all the people are happy, but the people very scared to stand up against the Mao Zedong. If you see one word to Mao Zedong not good, you will lose your life. The company will kill you.
So freedom of speech was definitely taken away then.
Of course. If you say, Mao Zedong is not always right, okay, that means you oppose Mao Zedong, then they can kill you. Not court, not police, nothing. Just your neighbors can kill you. That is the Communist Party beginning.
So that the neighbors could tell on you, so to speak. And
Yeah, the neighbor can report to the Communist Party's secretary. Then the secretary can decide kill you or not.
and then were people taken away to concentrate, camps, or those existed, right? The concentration type of camps, the work camps, prison camps.
Perhaps. Well,
When they take you away like they do with the Uyghurs and put you in a camp where you have to work.
oh yeah, no, not just work. At that time, they just use the ropes to keep you on on the tree. Just that. No, not let you work. No any your legs, your arms, not free.
You mean they did that?
They use the
and
ropes.
tie you to a tree.
Yeah, they tie you ropes to tie.
Hang. They would hang you. They would hang everybody, or tie you to a tree.
Would they kill you or just tie you to the tree?
Some before they kill, they will tie sometimes and show and criticize and then kill you.
Wow, what happened to the arts and to the intellectuals, the people, and went into churches, things of that nature, or various religions? Were you allowed to be, during this time, have a religion anymore, or to be considered an intellectual?
During the Cultural Revolution.
Yeah, the Cultural Revolution. Yeah, at that time they just how to say? Yeah, the company tried to use that to protect Mao Zedong's power. So yeah, and they destroy a lot of how to see that the traditional something like that. Yeah.
Traditional cultural expressions.
Yeah, traditional cultural expression and some books. They burn a lot of books, the traditional books, and
Yeah, it seems to me that there wasn't any, there was not an opportunity to have diversity of thought, that you had to think one way. And it was the way that Mao Zedong wanted you to think. And if you didn't think that way, the government, so to speak, then you were in trouble. You were very brave to escape and to go to the embassy. What was life like for you? And this will be my last question, and I'll toss to Tova. What was, I know you were persecuted because you're blind, but what was your life like on a daily basis? And tell us about that escape to actually go to the embassy. It was very brave of you to do.
I don't understand.
He was an advocate for the handicapped people and for the poor people, and they put him in prison. They let him out of prison. They put him in a house in his home where he was under surveillance 24 hours a day with teams of people. There were people outside his house and inside his house watching him every day. And he's a blind man, as you see, but he still escaped, which is a miracle. It couldn't happen, but it did happen. But his wife and he planned how he would escape at night. So do you want to discuss how you escaped?
Yeah, I can tell about this. In fact, we tried to escape for more than 1 year. At that time in my village, more than 80 guards live in our village to watch us, and they beat us a lot. Yeah, and they stealing everything from my home, and no electricity. Yeah, no food to eat even, and so they beat my old mom, and I'm mad. But I have to find a way to get free, to tell the whole world what's happened when the Communist Party put my family under house arrest. So we prepare to do that in the night, because the night very quiet. If we move or we do something, the guard very easy to know. So later, we found a way in the morning, when the guard in our yard to get some tea. So Beijing helped me running close to the first wall. So since that time, I started to escape, and I climbed 8 walls and broke 3 bones in my foot, and I have to crawl on my hands and knees and passed 9 rings of cars out of my village. So then come to neighboring village, found my friend and hiding me in the small room. Later, I found a way to connect with my friend in Beijing, and then they drive the car from Beijing to my hometown, Shandong province, to pick up me north to Beijing. Then we found a way to connect with the U.S. Embassy in Beijing. So, but the official believe I can escape. They know the Communist Party ordered a lot of guards surround my village. So even some diplomacy official come there, they can't come in my village. So the official said, "Oh, really? He escaped? We have to see him before we give you the decision." Like this. Thank you.
Wow, so brave. Was your wife with you? Who helped you climb the walls?
No, only me. My wife have to at home. If my wife left, the guard will know I'm not at home. So she have to at home and let them know I'm still in the room, still lying down on the bed like that.
Sick.
Yeah, because I'm sick, So the Communist Party knows that.
So it took them several days before they knew he was gone.
Wow. Is your wife with you now?
She's with him most of the time. She's not in the room right now.
Oh, but I mean, she's not in China.
Yes, he got his whole family over here.
Oh, great. Okay. Well, you're very brave. Thank you for sharing with us today these stories. So one of the things we hope to understand from today is the threat that China poses for America. So can you tell us briefly about how you feel China is threatening America today?
Right.
Threatening. The CCP's threat.
The infiltration, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I understand about this. I know the Communist Party did a lot of the influence here, the infiltration. But when I came here, I understand exactly the very, very deep. The Communist Party even can infiltrate anything in the U.S. The corporation, the government, Congress, and the Hollywood, and the the stock market, like that. The stock market, and Wall Street, and media. So the Communist Party spent a lot of money here, and they tried to change the education in the universities, in the school, middle schools. So they used the Confucius Institutes to do the propaganda here, to try to stop the universities or school to talk about the Communist Party's history, to talk about human rights, to talk about Constitution and the rule of law, like that. So that, and I remember 2 years ago, the Newsweek write an article. They did the investigation for 3 years. The article said more than 600 organizations work for the Communist Party in the US. That is a danger. So I think, yeah, since I came here, I always talk about this, trying to remind the Western people, the US people, to understand how dangerous the Communist Party. Yeah, to stop the Communist Party, to do the infiltration here. But I'm glad to hear the news now. More and more US people understand about this. So you can see the spy balloon, yeah. So, and the Communist Party created the coronavirus and spread to the whole world. Yeah, that worse than several times than Pearl Harbor, right? So yeah, I think the Communist Party is the biggest virus. Yeah.
Interesting. The Communist Party is the biggest virus. Wow. Well, thank you for those words and your bravery and your commitment to freedom. And those are very wise words. We should take to heart about how the infiltration is happening almost in every area of our country. So thank you. I could ask questions all day, but I have to toss to the rest of the team so they have a chance to talk to you too. So I'm going to pass now to Tova. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Janine. And thank you, Mr. Chen, for being here again. I have some questions. The first is, you've done a great job about talking about, the human rights situation from the Chinese Communist Party. And so now that in your advocacy, what do you think that the international community should do to address these human rights abuses? What tools do you advocate for? Sanctions, diplomacy, etc. What do you think people outside China should be doing to address this situation? And what tools do you think are the most effective?
Yeah, I understand. Of course, we have a lot of tools can use it. The first problem is we should throw away the appeasement. We can use the internet. Internet is a good tool, right? And the US have the high technology. And the Communist Party spend a lot of money to buy the new technology and use it to create the recognized movement system to control the Chinese people. So I think we can use the internet to transfer the free information to mainland China. And we can use the high technology to tear down the Great Firewall to let Chinese people get free information. And we can ask the corporation, the technology corporation, if the Communist Party uses the technology to control the Chinese people, to destroy the human rights, to prosecute the Chinese people, we will stop them to use it. Yeah, that should be very useful. So I remember when the Communist Party, when I was under house arrest, the official said, okay, now we've installed 7 high quality cameras to watch you every moment. The cameras come from the United States. I feel very, very, very bad. That if the companies just think how to get money from the rural China's market, just work with the Communist Party, that is very, very dangerous, So I think we can use different way to, for example, we can stand with the Chinese people. We can use the Magnitsky law, global Magnitsky, to punish who prosecuted the activists in mainland China. If they did, we stopped giving them visa. the counterparties members, their family member live in the US, they send the money here. If they persecuted the Chinese people, we will stop them to come here. We will freeze their account in the bank. Yeah, that is, in my experience, that is very useful. So if we throw away the appeasement, stand up with justice, the counterparty have to stop to do that. So we have different ways to do that. We can, for example, we can support the activists here and then spread to Chinese people. The problem is, we know we shouldn't have any hope with the counterparty, but it looks like the U.S. government still have some, want the counterparty become better, but the counterparty will not to do that.
You understand he's saying the word appeasement, to throw out appeasement?
Appeasement, yeah. Do
Yeah, thank you so much. No, that makes a lot of sense. And I like what you were saying too about the role of corporations. I think that maybe that hasn't been talked about as much. So very interesting. And then as a lawyer in China, you worked a lot with people with disabilities and fighting for their rights. So could you talk a bit about the rights of people with disabilities in China, what barriers there are to inclusion, and your work in that space?
Okay. For the disabled people, their life very, very difficult. In the history, since 2000 years ago, for example, the blind people, they have to learn the fortune telling to make a living. Their life just how to say, just they just follow the traditional morality. The society help them, the people, the kind of people, give them some food, give them some place, some room to live. When the blind people doing the fortune telling in the rural China, the government didn't help them anything. Since 1989, the Communist Party tried to have a law, the disabled law, like American
Disabilities.
yeah, like American Disability Act. So since 1991, in mainland China, we have the law, but the Communist Party never think they will really use that law. So in that law, some part said if the blind people live in rural China, if they can't work, the government shouldn't get the taxes or fees from them. But the company never stopped to do that.
No.
Even the official come to disabled people's house said, oh, you are disabled people. If you pay first, that will very helpful our work. I can request the normal people to pay soon. That is illegal, but that is happening. Even in the city in Beijing, after 30 years, in Beijing, the law said if the blind people take a subway, they needn't to pay. But when I was in Beijing, I tried to take the metro. They asked me to pay the tickets. I said, that is illegal. We have the law more than 10 years. Why in Beijing you ignore that laws? They said, oh, I don't know. I just got the government to ask me to ask you to pay that. So later, you know, I sued the metro corporation in Beijing. You know, later they have to, then I report the case to the media, and before the company tried to do the censorship, but later, you know, the media stand up to expose like this, so later the company had to change that. Now the blind people take a subway in Beijing for free. So that cases tell us the company never think use that law to help the disabled people. They just want to make a law looks like good. That is a waste. Just let the foreign country know, oh, we have the law, we tried to help disabled people, just like this. So now in China, the company just give the disabled people a little money to help them to get food. Better than before, but of course not enough.
Yeah, thank you so much for sharing that and shedding light on the issue and for all the work you've done in that space to fight for people with disabilities. I wanted to ask about your work as a lawyer in China and how the practice of law is different in China from in the US, and how more broadly the judicial system is different in China than in the US.
Yeah, you know, in mainland China, no rule of law. The Communist Party is above the Constitution and the law. They can change every moment the law or the Constitution. So the law and the Constitution just benefit for the Communist Party. If some part not benefits the Communist Party, they will change it immediately. And you know, the Communist Party have a part, we call it 政法委, you know, the political system. The political system control the judicial system. The Communist Party can, request the police how to check the case. They can request the court what's the result the court should give. So looks like the court is independent, but that is not. They always listen to the Communist Party's political system. So no rule of law. Yeah, no. Even if you just think the Constitution maybe looks is good, you know, for example, the company write it down, yeah, all the Chinese people have the rights of freedom of speech. All the Chinese the people can create the party, but if you to do that, the Communist Party will put you in jail. And the Communist Party write down, we call it 4 basic principles. One principle is we have to keep the Communist Party always Chinese leader. So, you know, yeah, that is why no rule of law. The Communist Party can control everything. And I want to see the Communist Party regime is not the same as Western democratic government. China's political system is a party state system, where the party controls everything. So that is, I think, for the Western countries, they don't understand that, but that is true. All the media become the Communist Party's mouthpiece. So, yeah. So if the court give you wrong result, no way to talk. If you write something on the internet, the Communist Party will delete it. If you talk to the media said we have to listen to the propaganda, the state propaganda. So in mainland China is very, very close the 1984, just before we mentioned that. Very, very close.
Thank you. Yeah, I think your response really showed the importance of, our First Amendment freedoms in the US, like freedom of speech, freedom to talk to the press, to get to share when we feel we're, being taken advantage of. And then my last question was about when you came to the United States, what was that experience like coming from your previous life in China to the US? What sort of governmental and cultural differences did you notice as you got used to life in the US?
How was it to come to the US from China? How did you feel to come to the US from China?
Okay. Yeah, I feel, the democracy system are not perfect, but it is the least bad system. So until now, the humanity developed. So in the US, of course, still have some problem. We should make it better, but we still can make the society 80 or 90% justice, right? But in mainland China, under the authoritarian regime, no justice. You only when you have to listen to the Comparty. Yeah, if you oppose the CCP, the Comparty will use different way to prosecute you. So, yeah, if you, for example, if you stand up to see the truth on the internet, the Comparty will put you in jail. After you released, you can't rent the room to live. The Comparty will give the pressure to the homeland to refuse you to rent their house, to return their house. And if you find a job, the Comparty will ask the special police to call the boss. Okay, you have to refuse to him. You fire him. Yeah, you have to fire the activist. Yeah. And my friend, who is a human rights lawyer in Beijing, in just last month, their family moved 9 times. Just yesterday morning, the police forced them to move again in the midnight. So if you stand up to see the truth, if you stand up to protect the justice, you will become the Comparty's enemy. So that's mainland China. Yeah, the activists, the human rights job, very difficult, very expensive, but still, in mainland China still have a lot of people stand up to do that now. Even in the US, the influence very deep. The infiltration happened anywhere. 2015, the Comparty ordered a guard put the mouse poison in my kitchen here. You can see the Comparty dangerous. Dangerous here, yeah. So.
Were you happy to come to America?
Of course, I'm very happy. I think I got a right choice. I came here, my family, we are free now. I'm escaped from the claws of the CCP. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for sharing your story and for answering my questions. And I'll now pass on to Jorn.
I just wanted to say he became an American citizen, so he's
yeah. So now I'm a US citizen. I think I have a responsibility to make this place better and better.
Oh, well, that is amazing. Your story is really something. What was one moment that made you start this fight? Was there one time that, what drove you to start fighting the Chinese government? And did your family, were they scared for you? Did they, try to stop you for your own good?
You want an example, right?
Well, the first time, what was the first time you decided you had to fight the CCP?
Oh, yeah. In fact, that is from I remember maybe 1980, 1985, like that. I remember 1985, the more than 40 the communist officials come to my village, tried to give one family trouble because his wife pregnant the second baby and hiding. The officials forced his husband to tell them where his wife hiding. Of course, he don't want to do that. And the officials tried to take all things in their family away. I remember at that time, the family have a pig mom. The pig mom just have 4 pig babies. But I don't know why the pig mom died. So that family don't want the 4 pig babies die. So then they spent more than 23 RMB about a sheep. So the baby pigs can drink the milk from the sheep. At that time, the official asked tried to take away the sheep. If they take away, the pig babies will die. So when I saw that, I'm mad. That looks like the officials not humanity. They are animal. Even the animal know how to protect the small animal, right? They just ignore the pigs die. So on the street, I practice to that. Yeah, my neighbors said, "Oh, stop to say that. The official will beat you." So since that time, I think I should do something to protect the justice, to oppose the evil officials, the evil government. So yeah, I think that is earlier. I'm thinking how to protect justice. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, thank you. And did anyone in your family try to stop you? Not for the Chinese government's sake, but for your own.
My mom, my brothers, they know the Cultural Revolution, right? They know how evil the CCP. The CCP told me, if you are not listening to us, maybe one day something happens. For example, when you take a bus, maybe another car will hit the bus, you will die in the bus. Maybe that will be happen. Maybe, yeah, when you walk on the way, some motorcycle will hit you. But if you ask the police to check what's happening, who did that, the police will not know what's happening. Yeah, they scare me a lot. So that threatened my family. My family said, "Oh, yeah, you should be careful. I think you should stop to do that. And if you keep to do that, the company will find a way to punish you." I understand they worry my situation. They said, "I know you did the right thing. You do the right thing. I know your job is justice, but I worry the Communist Party will kill you, like that. Yeah, I know that everyone have to think about this if you stand up to oppose the authoritarian regime. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, the Communist
I
Party
think it is.
ordered the guard use the knife to destroy my brother's car, like that.
Wow. Well, I think it is time we jump to Kathy for some audience questions.
Well, thank you, Jordan. This has been a great discussion so far. And we want to start by giving a shout out to our listeners on Las Vegas's KKVV 1060 AM, airing our podcast Monday nights at 6 p.m. Pacific. So we so appreciate KKVV airing these podcasts. We also want to give a shout out to our students who are on with us today. Kristen Tokarov, one of Constituting America's best college PSA winners, Gerald Retzlaff, Hope Mucklow, and Sarah Howard with several homeschool students. So we want to thank all the students. If you're a student watching and I somehow didn't give you a shout out, be sure and type your name in the chat because we want to recognize you. We encourage all our students watching to ask questions. And I want to start with Rick Mayberry, who just has a nice comment. Rick says, superb presentation by an individual who has lived it. Mr. Chen's broad understanding, including not only the politics and human rights abuses, but the impact of the West doing business with China, needs to be heard and understood by all free governments and commercial organizations. Thank you, Mr. Chen, for your bravery and leadership in trying to change the world. And thank you, Constituting America, for bringing Mr. Chen to us. So thank you, Rick, for those nice comments. And thank you, Mr. Chen.
Thank you.
We also have a question from Jordan O'Leary, who says, several years ago, my dear friend, Dr. Kenneth Arndt, toured China and even spoke before functionaries. And he says in the Politburo, he was with the CCTA, Chinese Christian Theological Association, and spoke about how the NH Constitution gave rights to people. Have you heard of his work?
You know that man. Say his name again, please.
Dr. Kenneth Arndt, A-R-N-D-T, with the
No,
Chinese
I don't know.
Christian Theological Association.
He doesn't know.
I don't know that.
Okay. Well, and thank you, Jordan, for the question. And then Paul Pierce asked, was anyone who helped you escape punished? And if so, what was the punishment?
Okay. Yeah, when I arrived at the neighboring village, I asked them go to my neighboring house to tell my nephew I'm escaped. I hope my nephew can find a taxi and bring me outside the county. So later, when the Communist Party know I am escaped in Beijing, and the Communist Party ordered the police to guard my nephew and ask him to tell them which way I escaped. So my nephew show how I escape, which way I across in the forest, in the fields, like that, and how across the river, like that. But the Communist Party don't believe that, so they checked 3 times about him, and of course the Communist Party took him in the police station and punished him more than 1 day. And another thing is, when the Communist Party know I'm escaped, more than 30 officials come to my older brother's house and arrest my brother to the police station. Then they beat my sister-in-law and in the room and even beat my nephew's son. At that time, only 3 years old. They beat us a lot. Then my nephew have to stand, they use the big stick to hit my nephew and hurt his face, his neck, his head. Then my nephew have to take vegetable knives to fight back. So then the Communist parties sent him in prison 3 years. So yeah, the Communist party punished my family a lot, and later ordered something, drive the car to hit my older brother, and used the stone to hit my brother's house every middle night. They keep doing that almost 1 month. So every night, the guard drive the car to come there, throw the stones in the yard, destroy the glasses, and my older brother to report to police, but the police just ignore. No police come there to check who did that. So yeah, they did a lot like this.
Well, thank you for that. And our last question comes from Brian Ernst. And Brian's asking if you knew any of the student leaders in the Tiananmen Square event of 1989, and if so, how have you worked together?
Oh yes, I just last week I went to California. I met my friend. His name is Fang Zheng. Yeah, he is the leader when Tiananmen Square happened. Because the Communist Party used a tank to kill the students and the people in Beijing. On the way, he saw the tank almost hit a student. She just walk on the street. Fang Zheng used the hand to push the woman outside the street, but the tank cut his legs. So since that time, Fang Zheng lost the legs, and now he have to use the wheelchair to move. But now it's good. He live in San Francisco. So he's my good friend. We sometimes talk on the phone, and every year, June 4th, we do something together. So sometimes I work with another leader of the student. His name is Wang Dan. He lived in Washington before, but now he lives in Taiwan. So yeah, we work together a lot, not just the Tiananmen Square leader students, and we work with the human rights lawyers, the netizens, and the activists, and the artists. So we did a lot. We used the secret room online, so the Communist Party can't stop us. Thank you.
Hey, Kathy, I just want to say, if people go to the website for the center, we have pictures of his trip. And also we have a podcast where he talks with these people from Tiananmen Square and other people about the Chinese Communist Party. So you can find out more.
Yeah,
Well, that's great. And what is your,
visit our website?
what is the website address?
It's catholic.edu/CHR for Center for Human Rights. So it's
Okay.
catholic.edu/CHR.
Okay.
And then we have his story is there, his book, The Barefoot Lawyer, which tells his whole story, is there. You can order it. You can still order it through Amazon or something, but we have a lot more information there. He's working very hard against the CCP, the Chinese Communist Party, and you can find out there on the website.
Thank you. Sometimes I write articles on Wall Street Journal or Washington Post. If you're interested, please try to find them.
And we have some of those on the website too. So if you want to read more in depth about some of his writings, they're on the webpage.
Well,
Yes,
thank you. And Mr. Saunders, could you repeat that website one more time? I'll just put it in for the audience, catholic.edu. And what is the last?
Front slash,
Uh-huh.
front slash and then CHR.
CHR. Okay, let me,
Human rights.
I'm going to just make sure that is correct. Well, we're a little bit past time, but this has been so fascinating. And we thank you so much for being with us today. It was just such an honor to have you. And I know our audience got so much out of this. And Tova or Jordan, would y'all like to jump in and give any quick closing comments?
Just thank you so much for being here, for your bravery and sharing your story, and for all the work you do. It's an amazing chat.
Yeah, I just really appreciate how transparent you were with this whole time and talking about the amazing journey you've been on.
thank you.
Well, thank you. And we thank our audience for being with us today and invite y'all to come back next week, Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. We're going to be talking about Cuba. So thank y'all very much. And we will see you next week.
Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.